So this is section 5.3 to 5.5. This worksheet is located on your Google Classroom. One thing I want you to kind of think about is, although we are covering 3 different sections, we're covering 5.3, 5.4, and 5.5. All of these things are unbelievably similar. The reason that these things are all tied together is because we are using different ways to show that 2 triangles are congruent. If you remember back to section 5.2, we said that if 2 triangles were congruent to each other, then that meant that every single part of the triangles was congruent to each other. Now, in this case, what I'm saying is we have a lot of different ways that we can show that 2 triangles are the same. So these are the different methods that we can use. Some of them work, some of them don't, okay? So obviously we have side, side, side. What that means, if I can prove with 2 triangles, so let's say these 2 triangles are different, we don't know anything about them, but if I could prove that this side length and this side length were the same, if I could show that this side length and this side length were the same, and if I could show that these side lengths were the same, then I could say that these 2 triangles were congruent to each other. The way that I would say that is by side, side, side. And that's the abbreviation, SSS. All right. So basically what you're doing is, if you see a picture, and in that picture you see that 3 sides are the same, you see that 3 sides are the same. If you can see that those are the exact same for both of these cases, then you can say the 2 triangles are the same. Now the same kind of thing happens with all of these other ones. All right. We just have to know 3 pieces of information. And if I can show 3 pieces of information, and they have to be kind of specific pieces of information, but if I can show those 3 pieces of information, then I can say that these 2 triangles are the same. All right. So side angle side, the way that side angle side is, it's abbreviated as SAS. But what it is if I have a side and a side, see how those are the corresponding sides, they're the same. And then I have an angle in between. So like maybe that angle and that angle. And then I have another side and another side. See how this kind of makes like an angle sandwich? How it's a side and an angle and a side, side, angle, and side. If I know this, like if I see 2 pictures and both of those pictures have the same thing, side and then an angle and then a side, side and then an angle and then a side, I can say these 2 triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. This one does not work. It does not work. Okay? It is SSA. So this way doesn't work. I guess don't cross this off. I'm going to put in a big note here in just a second. So this one, what it looks like is side, side, angle. So side, side, angle. This one does not work. I'll put that in like red letters here. Oops. You can't use this method. You can't. And for some of you, you might realize that if you were to look at this backwards, instead of SSA, and you like rearranged it and you made it say something else, it says a bad word. Bad word means don't use it. Okay? Bad word means do not use it. All right? Now, this is kind of the same thing as this one right here, but this one is okay. This one is specifically talking about right triangles. So notice how this triangle is the only one that looks different at all. This is the only one that looks any sort of different at all. All right. So that being said, if this is a right angle, I can say that either of these sides right here, like this side and this side are the same. And I can say that this side is the same. This one works. So this one works. This abbreviation is HL. All right. So there are 3 of our 7 that we have to go through today. Okay. 3 of 7. And really, I only say 3 because this one doesn't work. We can't use it. All right. So let's go through a new one. Oops. And then we'll go through several examples, and that's actually going to be all we're going to do for today. So it should be pretty quick. But you guys should have some time to kind of work through a couple of these. All right. Now, this next one is angle, side, angle, ASA. Again, we're making a sandwich, but this one we have 2 angles as our bread, and the sandwich or the side is the stuff in the middle. All right. So like angle, angle, and then another angle and another angle, and then the side in between. So angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. See how it makes a sandwich? Everything is really, really close to each other. That's what that means. All right. So ASA, this one does work. This one's good. We can use this one. Angle, angle, side. Angle, 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 and then a side. This one is not a sandwich. See how it goes angle, angle, then the side, angle, angle, then the side? That's what's happening. All right. So angle, angle, then the side. This one is AAS. Oops, I don't want to put that dash there. So we have AAS. All right, and then the very last one is angle, angle, angle. We would call this AAA. This is when all of the angles are congruent to each other. And this one also doesn't work. We can't use this one. We can use all of the other ones except for side, side angle and angle, angle, angle. So we can use all of those. All right. Any questions or issues or concerns or anything that you guys have as you sit here and look at this right now? Okay, so let's go through some examples. I'm going to go through probably 3 or 4 examples and show you what I'm looking for. And then I'm probably going to be done for today and just give you guys some time to practice. All right, so like let's look at this one right here. We'll look at all 3 of these. All right, you will work on these ones. Now basically the question is, are these 2 triangles congruent? Are these 2 triangles congruent? Are these 2 triangles congruent? You will put a yes or no if they are congruent or not. And if they are congruent, you will put whatever theorem you used, side, angle, 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 side, angle, side, whatever it is, you will put that down here for the theorem. And you only have to put the abbreviations because that's what we're using for, okay? But the thing is, some of these, we might have to put extra information on the pictures based on what I know. So if I look at this one right here, I can see that this angle right here is 90 degrees. And I can see that these 2 angles right here add up to be a line. So I know for a fact that that angle right there is also a right angle. I also know that this side right here, that side right there, counts for this triangle up here because it's the bottom side. And it also counts for this triangle right here, right? It's the same side, so it has to be the exact same. So if I redraw this picture and I just look at it like this, I basically am saying I have a triangle on top that looks like this, and I have a triangle on the bottom that looks like this. So if I look at this, I can see that I have a side and then an angle and then a side, and I have a side and then an angle and then a side. So if I say that I have side, angle, side, I know that I'm using the theorem side, angle, side, and that means that they are congruent because side, angle, side works. That's what we got from the worksheet above. That's how this process works, all right? Same thing, these are vertical angles. Vertical angles are across from each other, and if they are across from each other, then they are congruent. The same thing would happen here, just in case you were wondering. So angles across from each other work, they are congruent to each other. So right now, if I look at this picture, I've got an angle, I've got an angle, I've got a side. I've got an angle, I've got an angle, I've got a side. Angle, angle, side. Now look up at your stuff directly above this, which means look right about here. Angle, angle, side. We said angle, angle, side does work. So since angle, angle, side does work, I will put yes. Okay. Then we get here. I have no sides, right? No markings for sides. Since there are no markings for sides, it looks like I have an angle, an angle, and an angle. I have an angle, angle, angle. If I go back here and look for angle, 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 I'm looking here. It says angle, angle, angle is the theorem that I'm using. That one does not work. Doesn't work, so I will put no. Doesn't work with angle, angle, angle. Do you guys have any questions so far? We're good?
Oh yeah. So as long as we can find the angles in the same exact positions in both, they're both the same, correct?
Yes. All right, so let's work through one last part. And that last part, all of these are the exact same. So all of these are the exact same as what we just did up here. They are the exact same types of questions. So I'm not going to go through these because these are perfect things for you guys to practice. But I want to go through one like down here, like this one. So what I have to do is I'm trying to say, are the two triangles congruent to each other? Are they congruent to each other or not? If they are congruent to each other, what's the theorem that I'm using? So right here, what I'm looking at is I can see a picture and I'm marking all of the information that I know. So if I can mark all of the information that I know, I'm going to look through and say, okay, do I know anything about right angles? Do I know anything about what do I know? And so what I need to figure out, or what I need to look at, is I need to say, do I know anything about like this angle right here? Or do I know anything about this angle right here? Now, again, you cannot just look at this and say, oh yeah, that looks like it's a right angle, so it is. You can't know, you don't necessarily know anything about this side length and this side length because they're not marked. So right now, all I know is that I have a side right there and a side right there, and then I basically have nothing else. So since I basically have nothing else, since I don't have any other information, I'm going to put a big X here and I'm going to put the word no because I don't really know anything. All right. I don't really know any information yet. Now in the future, we'll be able to know a lot more about this because we'll go through definitions of rectangles and we'll go through definitions of trapezoids and things like that. But right now, I don't know anything. So since I don't know anything, I can't put anything down for this one. All right. Let's go through one more and then I'll call it good. So like, let's try this one. So let's look here. And right now it's saying triangle LMN is congruent to what? Now, if I look right now, I can already see that I have a side here and a side here. I have an angle here and I have an angle here. And I have a side here and a side here. I am making an angle sandwich, right? Side angle, side, side angle, side. I'm making a sandwich. So I know that I can do side, angle, oops. I know I can do side, angle, side. Now the question is, I have to make sure I put everything in the same exact order based on each triangle. So see how I go LMN? That means that I should go NOP. So LMN, NOP. I should make those same movements each time. That's what you're being asked to do. All right? So I'm going to stop recording here because that is it for right now. I want you guys to attempt to go through these three, I guess, because I did the bottom three. So go through these three up here, go through these 6 right here, and then you have 4 questions to try here. All right? So do your best. Try what you can do. Try something. Try anything you can think of in order to try and help you out and try to understand this worksheet. We will pick this worksheet up tomorrow and we'll pick up a new worksheet tomorrow. So that way we can start looking at the proof side of things. Okay? So that is it for this.